It's the next level.
Hmm? Ah!
Goodbye, Benjamin.
Her name is Charlotte Lewis. Charlotte Staples Lewis. Born July 2nd, 1979, Essex, England. Parents David and Jeanette, eldest of three, all girls. She was raised in Bromsgrove. Did her undergraduate studies at Kent. Took her PhD in cultural anthropology at Oxford. She's here with two other team members and a pilot. Their names Daniel Faraday, Miles Strom, Frank Lapidus. Your instinct was right, John. These people are a threat. And if you shoot me, you'll never know how great a threat they were. Because I know what they're doing here. I know what they want. What do they want? Me, James. They want me.
How do you know all this?
Because I have a man on their boat.
Welcome back to another episode of We Have to Go Back Lost Revisited as we continue on into Season 4 of the series. I am Ben, not joined by Kristen this week. Unfortunately, she had a little bit of a family issue this week, which we'll talk a little bit about in a little bit. But I am going to be joined by two special guests this week who are going to help me talk about Season 4, Episode 2, Confirmed Dead. Without further ado, let's bring them in. You hear them every week anyway, for the most part, as they usually leave feedback. But I am joined this week for my special guest co-hosts by Des Combs and Steve Brown. Gentlemen, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Hello, everyone. Hi, everybody.
And this is exciting because I just learned right before we started recording, Des, this is your first time on a podcast.
My very first time.
So
We'll be gentle.
Yeah, we're breaking we're breaking the cherry. We're busting your cherry on podcasting this week.
No dig at our buddy Jason or anything like that, but yeah, this is my first time.
Oh yeah, that's true. How come you haven't done a Podcastica podcast yet?
I don't know.
Well, maybe this will spark your interest. I know that's how I got started. I think I was calling in, and then my buddy Mark just was like, "Somebody, I need a co-host." And
I don't think it's that Des isn't interested. I was more poking fun at the fact that how come nobody's invited him yet at this point. I mean, he leaves feedback for multiple podcasts. How come no one's asked you to guest so far?
I guess because I sound so dead or whatever whenever I call in. Because
fine.
Well, no, I'm reading everything. So,
but yeah, so like I said at the top of the podcast, apologies for this being a week late. At the time, we usually record. Chris and I usually record on Friday or Saturday mornings, or rather Thursday or Friday mornings, rather, for a release on Saturday or Sunday. And right before we went to record, Kristen informed me that they, unfortunately, they were going to have to let their dog go. So they were going to have their dog put down. And anybody who's a pet owner knows, they're a member of the family.
right.
So, yeah. Kristen, her husband, their two kids, in addition to being sad herself about the loss of their pet, who, was a member of their family for 7 years, in addition to being sad herself, she also had to be a mother and be there for her children who were going through the same grief. So it's completely understandable that, she's not in a good mindset right now. still going through it. So we send her all our love and our best, and hopefully she'll be back with us next episode. So, but as we mentioned as well at the top, season 4, episode 2, confirmed dead. It's really a bummer that Kristen's not a part of this one because she loves these characters.
Especially Faraday. She loves him.
Yeah. So, I mean, she loves Faraday. She loves Miles. I mean,
Miles. Oh.
So for her to miss out on the introduction of these characters it's really a bummer, but we'll do it justice for her, and then she can listen and leave us any additional feedback when she rejoins the podcast.
Absolutely.
But again, as I mentioned, this is an introduction to 4 of these characters. It's an episode that, while we had so much happen in the season premiere, this is an episode, at least in my opinion, is, I don't want to say completely straightforward, because there are some obvious mysteries that pop up with everything that's going on with the introduction of these characters. But I want to turn it over to you gentlemen, as I usually turn it over to Kristen. Where do you want to start? Which character do you want to start with? Where do you want to start? And who wants to go first between the two of you?
Why don't you go ahead, Steve?
Okay, I was going to say it's your first times, but let's start with Locke, because Locke and Sawyer. I absolutely love a good Apocalypse Now reference.
I loved it.
Huge fan of that movie. So as soon as Sawyer said, "Where are we off to, Colonel Kurtz?" I was like, I just loved it, and I just we get this sense that there's they kind of confirm the healing factor that this island has, because Locke lifts up his shirt and he shows the bullet wound that it's hours, maybe a day since he's been shot.
I don't even think I think it's been maybe no more than 24 hours.
Yeah,
right.
It can't be. And he's like, if I had a kidney there, I'd probably be dead. And I'm like, seriously? But there was something I caught as I was watching it for the third time today. There was something I caught that I had not picked up on. Back to my Apocalypse Now reference is when Sawyer or Hurley, one of them says something about you're listening to the jungle to Locke. And that is, I don't know if they meant it to be a homage or reminiscent of the end of Apocalypse Now, when the narrator says Colonel Kurtz was no longer listening to the army. He was only following the law of the jungle. And that's really the only law that he listened to. So I thought it was kind of interesting when I picked up on that you're just listening to the jungle now. So
I did not catch that.
I find it interesting too in the season 1 premiere, and including going back to, or not the season 1 premiere, that's going too far back. The season 4 premiere, which was the last episode, even back into the season 3 finale. There's a lot of talk as to the motivation as to why Locke is doing what he's doing and why he's being what he's being. And he does have his own motivations between not wanting to leave the island himself. But it's also revealed in this episode, a lot of in the conversation between him and Sawyer, when he starts bringing up Walt. And in that, Walt is the one that actually told him to stop Naomi from bringing the people to the island.
Was that total fan service, his line of "it was Walt, only taller"? Is that just,
Oh God, yeah.
like yes, we recognize that he's grown up.
Yeah, I mean that was totally their play on saying, okay, like yes, we know the actor was taller, we know he's grown up, so we're gonna play with it a little bit. And I wouldn't even be surprised if a part of me, if that line was improvised by Terry O'Quinn.
Interesting. That'd be an interesting question to ask.
Yeah, which unfortunately we'll never get the opportunity, because I have spoken to Terry O'Quinn's people, and he unfortunately he doesn't like to really go back and talk about Lost that often.
Okay.
Not because he didn't like the project. He actually loved the project, but he prefers to talk about what is current and what is up and coming rather than go back and talk about what's already happened, which, hey, to each their own. So, but yeah, I found that interesting that, it's kind of revealed in that conversation, Locke's not really, he doesn't care anymore if people believe what he says. He comes right out and says, Walt told me, this is what Walt told me to do.
Yeah, and then he doesn't give any explanation at all. Sawyer keeps asking him questions. Was this giant Walt? Was this, whatever ghost or whatever? And he just doesn't even answer it.
Yeah, exactly. What else? I mean, we're in the whole Locke and Sawyer element now, so we might as well keep with it and continue on with the conversation about those guys. And one of the other points I want to make about this too, and then I'll turn it over to one of you guys, is at the end of last episode, they were both in complete awe of the rain that starts, but yet now we're back to Locke being able to predict the weather. Mm-hmm. He seems very in tune. Mm-hmm. He's back in tune with the island now at this point. Knowing that when he's able to predict that the rain is going to stop in a few moments, and boom, that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
And it just makes me think about the whole Doc Brown moment in Back to the Future 2. Wait 13 seconds.
Oh yeah.
Or 7, wait 4 more seconds or something like that. I should know that, considering I'm the self-proclaimed Back to the Future expert. I should know what that line is.
The brain only holds so much information at one time.
I know. The rest of it just dribbles out like you're lost. No pun intended.
Oh, God.
So it was funny, though. It's like at the end of last episode, everybody, we're going with John, Jack, we don't trust you anymore. 2 minutes into this episode, which is probably like an hour walk for them, now they all think John's completely crazy.
Yeah.
Everything he says in the first 5 minutes of the episode. Wait, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, the cracks are starting to show. Yeah.
They're all thinking to themselves, we might have been a little impulsive last night when we decided to go with John.
But I do also like that when Sawyer, Sawyer specifically tells Carl, don't let him get in your head, and then he lets Ben get in his head, even though he says, no, Ben, you're not going to get in my head, but he does. So,
well, I mean, Carl has never really been the brightest bulb in the box. And he's one of those characters that unfortunately is written as a secondary character. I mean, he's one of those characters that, you can pop him off at any point and he's collateral damage. Not every character can be a Hurley or a John Locke. So, and Carl has always seemed like one of those characters that's just easily written off.
Yeah. His job is just to get you from point A to point B pretty much every time he shows up.
Yep, exactly. I mean, he's there for exposition of the story, and that's pretty much it. Last time before all this happened, first time we see him in a while, is his only job is to appear on the beach and tell them, no, they're coming now, not tomorrow.
Yep.
Right, exactly. And then, this episode even really, he doesn't do that much until the end when Ben, all he does is he is a catalyst for Ben to be able to get that gun.
Yeah,
so
exactly. There's so much more with the Ben story as well, too. I mean, not so much more, but it progresses a little bit further in that. There's a definitely huge moment in Ben's story towards the end of the episode, actually at the very end of the episode. But it's just interesting to watch him try and play through, like, I'm trying to find the words to describe exactly how I want to put this.
Well, like you talked about it last season, and I think the beginning of this season, that Ben, his plan is suddenly unraveling. Like he had everything lined up to be perfect. He thought that everything was going to go his way. And then the end of last season, the beacon gets turned off, the freighter shows up, and suddenly he sees all of his dominoes that he had lined up, that he was ready to fall into place, are now he's scrambling to make a new plan. So I think that's what we're seeing here, is we're seeing a Ben who hasn't thought 3 steps ahead. He's reacting in the moment. He's pushing Carl's buttons. He's pushing Sawyer's buttons. He's seeing, where can he, where can he play out his plan? And he's trying to form it, because Sawyer tries to say it. He's already figured out how he's going to get away from us. He's just going to get there. Like he knows what the end game is, but he's got to figure out how to get there.
Yeah. It kind of almost plays out it kind of like a Jurassic Park scenario. Ben is very much a raptor at this point, and all the people around him are the fence, and he's hitting the fence to find the weak points. You know, just like in Jurassic Park, how the Raptors kept attacking the fence to find the weak point so that they could escape. That's exactly what Ben's doing at this point. He's testing everybody to find out who's the weak point. Who am I going to go through to get out of this?
Well, and plus, he's also already got all these contingencies set up. He's already got a man on the boat.
Yeah.
He's already got Michael there. And he just everything just fell apart, and he's got Michael on the boat.
Oh yeah, spoilers by the way.
Sorry,
had to
spoiler full.
Yeah, spoiler full podcast. Sorry.
You know that had to kill him. That he had to play that card, but that was the only way he could convince Sawyer and he could convince Locke that he was still valuable to them was to go, I know all this team. We haven't even met. You guys haven't even met the other 3 members of this team, but I know who they are.
Did it kill him, though, to play that card?
Maybe not.
I don't know if it did, because he was very confident when he was giving that information. He wasn't reluctant at all. He was very confident when he was giving that information, to the point where I almost think he took that as a power trip. Like, that wasn't like him playing a card to reluctantly get out of from a weak point. I think that was a strength move for Ben.
Maybe, but I'll give you the only counterpoint I have to that argument is that at the end of and it's one of the things that I have in my notes because it always bugs me. It's one of those pet peeves I have about TV shows and movies where a character is threatening another character with a gun for several seconds or a long time, and then halfway through his conversation, then he chambers around. And I'm like, you've been threatening him with an unloaded gun. Okay. That Beretta has a thing at the top where you can see whether there's a round in the chamber or not. And so Ben's looking at it. Ben didn't make that confession until after Locke chambered around, until Ben knew that his life was really in danger. Because up until then, Locke had no bullet in the chamber. And I think Ben knew.
Well, I think one of the things, going back to last episode, a big revelation to Ben, as far as like whether or not people are going to pull the trigger, is the fact that Jack pulled the trigger on Locke.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
You know, and I think to me, I mean, at that point, I could have been Bernard at that point, or even any one of the other like castaways we don't even know their names. You know, if I was one of those people and I knew these people and I knew like everybody's been reluctant to this point, and Jack without hesitation pulled that trigger, at that point you're thinking like, okay, shit's really hit the fan at this point. Anybody is fair game. So, I mean, I think Ben having witnessed that and then seeing him pull back the hammer of the Beretta, yeah, like I would shit my pants at that point.
Yeah.
You know, like
along with how, you know, how Jack was, you know, ready to kill him in this episode, how quickly Kate gave up his name as the person that killed Naomi. You know, it was like no hesitation whatsoever. Oh, it was John Locke.
Yeah.
Let's go find him.
Well, I mean, I think that's because they basically want to stay in good graces with the people on the boat. You know,
right?
They want to stay in good graces with Miles and Daniel, especially finding out that it was a code word. You know, it was a code phrase that Naomi.
I'm so proud of myself.
Yeah, you were right about that.
There were 2 things I remembered, and I'll get the other one later, but that was one of the things that I remembered about this episode, is that the Tell My Sister I Love Her was a distress single. So
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I guess in that note, we can kind of switch gears to, you know, we were kind of spending a little time with Team Locke at this point. Why don't we kind of switch to Team Jack? What kind of notes do you guys have on that side of the story with what's happening with them and the recovery of these new characters?
Well, it's funny how the situation with John switched so quickly in this episode. It was the same thing with Jack. Jack, at the end of last episode, great, these people are going to rescue us. You know, let's go trust them. This is good. 2 seconds after meeting Faraday, and Faraday saying, you know, oh, I need to put this private phone call through. Instantly, no longer trust them, sees the gun. His faith in these people is already gone, you know?
Yeah, Faraday, one of the things I love about Daniel Faraday, at least in this episode, and I can't remember going forward if he's always like this, notice he never lies. He doesn't lie about anything.
He can't.
He's telling the truth about everything. And as soon as they're like, well, why did you bring the gun? He's like, for contingencies, for protection, and then you're like,
well, what's the gas mask for?
I don't know. I didn't pack it, and you're just, until he finally gives that reveal where he says, recovering you people is not our prime objective.
Yeah.
And suddenly Jack and Kate know that, okay, Ben and Locke were correct.
Well, I mean, and Faraday's a total head case. I mean, he is, you're right. I mean, he is so out of his element. I mean, he's somebody that, when we see at the beginning of the episode too, didn't even want to jump out of the chopper because that's something he hasn't done before. Mm-hmm. He's never jumped out of any kind of aircraft or anything like that. The parachute, this is total new territory for him. He's completely out of his element, both on the boat and now on the island. Although I think there are definitely moments with Daniel on the island where he's starting to find a little bit of a comfort. I mean, he can sense just by being on that island, there is something to that island.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to come into play very soon, actually, as we progress into this fourth season. So, I mean, we're going to start seeing more of the time travel element. Very light, but we're going to start seeing it relatively soon. And I'm not talking like in next season when half the castaways get sucked back to like the 60s. There's elements where just from the island to the boat, time is out of sync.
Right.
And, we're going to explore that very soon.
Oh, I totally forgot about that. You're right. I forgot that okay. Now I'm tracking. You're right.
The package as the boat sends to the island.
Yeah.
The boat gets the if I remember correctly, the boat gets the signal that the package has been received. And it's not till I think maybe like minutes to an hour or two later, it actually appears on the island.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I forgot about that. That's good.
Yeah. What else? What else?
I'm trying to see Miles the Ghostbuster.
What is that about?
The one thing I had in my notes that I thought was interesting, and I can't remember, I'm pretty sure I'm correct. We don't ever see from Miles's perspective.
I don't think so.
Of what he's seeing or what he's talking to. We just see everyone else seeing him, right? Okay.
Yeah. Is he a Ghostbuster or is he a ghost whisperer?
I think probably more ghost whisperer.
Yeah. He's less of a Bill Murray and more of a Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Okay.
Because he doesn't care what happens with the ghosts after he leaves. I mean, he tells them to go, but if they stay, he doesn't care.
Yeah, that was the thing that the third time I watched this, that I went, wait a minute. He just walks out. He tells the kid, okay, you can leave now. And then he goes downstairs and he tells the grandmother, yeah, he's gone. But he doesn't know. He just walks out of the room. He doesn't know if the kid actually left or not.
Yeah.
So, he gives her back the money because he's got the other bankroll and he just walks out. But yeah.
There was an interesting theory that I saw online when I was researching a lot of this, and apparently, I think it is a reach, and I think that's why that word was in my head. Is that the child who was murdered is either the same actor or in some way is related to Echo. Because of the pictures on the wall in the house. If you look at some of the pictures, he looks very, very similar to how Echo looked when he was younger. So I think it is a reach in this instance because there's never any connection made to Echo, and
Echo was in Africa, and
it's two different time periods. I mean, you're talking a good like 10 to 15 years earlier at that point with that actor. So, I mean, maybe they just used that actor to take some photos to fill in background scenes or something while they had him. But yeah, I think that definitely was a reach. I do find it funny, though. I don't know if anybody has seen this movie or not, but I found
Damn you, Ben. Damn you to hell.
You do it. You do it then. You do it.
Okay, because my theory is Carlton Hughes got drunk one night and was watching The Frighteners
Yes.
and decided to steal the whole damn movie.
Yes. Okay, good. Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only person.
I love that movie. Me and my wife watched that so much when it came out. It was ridiculous.
The machine that Miles pulls out in order to talk or whisper to ghosts is very similar to the same one Michael J. Fox uses in The Frighteners.
Okay, I was trying to. It's been a while since I saw that movie, so it definitely could have been a homage or whatever.
Oh, I couldn't take that from you, Des.
I mean, I even wrote this down. The Frighteners was in 1996 or not. Yeah, 1996. This episode was 2008. You know, he'd seen it a million times. He just stole it.
Yeah, he took a little inspiration from Peter Jackson and took that.
I like it.
I just love that. Yeah, I'm so glad somebody else picked up on that too.
And I just love the fact that when he says "take me to her body," and Kate is like, "Well, it's not going to do you any good," and he doesn't explain to her. He doesn't say, "I can talk to dead people." He just tells her, "Oh no, I'll know," you know. Yeah. And so they take him to the body, and then we see him kind of just hovering over the body for a few minutes.
Well, it's very interesting at that point too, you know, going back to your point about whether or not the ghost of the kid was released or not after Miles talked to it. There's a later point where Daniel Faraday is bringing Charlotte's body or Naomi's body to the chopper, and Miles is the one that says it's just meat.
Yeah.
I mean, so like, was it the same? He very obviously talked to Naomi because he got the story from Naomi as to whether or not Kate and Jack were telling the truth. But if that's the case, then maybe she's moved on at this point and Miles knows it.
I think so. That's what I took from it.
That's what I was kind of wondering about the parascience about that, because does the body actually have to be where he is to talk to them? Well, obviously not, because he goes to that house and the body's not there, you know. So why would he really have to go to Naomi's body?
Maybe because of the initial, because it was he had to know where she might be, and so like with the grandmother, he knew that the ghost was in the house.
Yeah,
he doesn't know where Naomi's ghost is, and Naomi doesn't. She might know to come looking for him, but she's not going to know where he is.
True.
So she's probably just hanging out by her body, waiting for Miles to show up. That's kind of what I took from it, was that because I thought about that same thing, that, well, he doesn't have to see the body, does he? But I was like, well, how would they reconnect? So,
yeah.
Because I think in his flashbacks, I mean, he sees a few different people, and I think that they're where they actually died is what the connection was.
Oh, that could be.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know this is kind of a leap away from Miles, but since we're talking about Naomi a little bit too, I want to bring up the fact that we, once again, we see Matthew Abaddon, who we saw last episode.
I love Lance Reddick. He's so good.
And, I think it's pretty clear at this point, he does not work for Oceanic Airlines. You know, we find out he is the one that gives Naomi her orders to go to the island. So I think as viewers, we know it. We don't know at this point. As people who have seen the series completely through, I think we already know that he works for.
Whitmore.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. My mind went blank for a second.
I was going to say Wilford from Snowpiercer, but Whitmore.
Yeah, Charles Whitmore and not Oceanic Airlines. But this is our first sense of it as a first-time viewer, that he is not who he says he is.
Well, and I think there's something in that scene as well that it tells us the how important Naomi must have been, because she knew, or she at least had an inkling, that plane that was found at the beginning of the episode was not the real Oceanic 815, because she keeps saying, "What if we find survivors?" And he says, "There are no survivors." She goes, "I know, but what if we find survivors?"
Yeah,
right. Right.
Like I know that plane was fake. So.
Yeah, so she obviously knows more about this mission than Miles and Daniel and Charlotte and Lapidus.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, I mean, although, it's weird because you look at, there's some importance to Lapidus because he does get a flashback of his own in or he does get an introduction of his own, as does Miles, Charlotte, and Faraday. But he's nothing more than a pilot yet at this point. But the most important thing about that is that he was the one initially who was supposed to be flying that plane.
I loved, because this was the second thing that I remembered. I remembered this phone call that he makes about the wedding ring.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't remember that he was supposed to be the captain or be the pilot of the plane, but I did remember that he calls about that wedding ring, and he's like, "No, Seth Norris always wears his wedding ring, and he's not wearing his wedding ring. That's not Seth Norris." So I really like, and we have to give Kristen a little shout out here. Richard Frank Lapidus. Let's get it right.
Richard, that's right, Richard.
I will tell you though, the whole ring thing bothers the heck out of me, because I'm thinking, unless Lapidus is like a huge conspiracy nut, he focused on that finger on that decaying corpse on that little TV set. I'm like, I would not know if somebody had a ring on.
Think about it though. This is a moment that changed his life. He was supposed to be the pilot of that plane, and that plane disappeared. And so it apparently it completely changed his life, because he went from being, I'm just assuming, this could be incorrect. I'm assuming he was a full-blooded pilot with Oceanic, and then whatever kind of breakdown he had after that, whatever survivor's guilt or whatever it was, he's now in the Bahamas, doing something, maybe flying charter planes or whatever. But
and Naomi calls him a drunk. So
and he's an alcoholic, and so there's definitely more there going on with Frank. And I just love that actor Jeff Fahey. It's just one of those things I really just enjoyed him, and I like him in this whole series, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, he's in it till the end. Because he is indeed one of the people who he is not one of the Oceanic Six, but when they reassemble everybody to go back to the island, he is flying that plane.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. And I love when Miles, or which one is it, Miles or Jack? I think it's Miles, says, "Where did it crash?" And he goes, "What kind of pilot do you think I am? I landed it. I landed it right over there."
Yep, I put her down safely right over that hill.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
And
where did it crash?
I know it's jumping forward a little bit too. It's not. I'm jumping all the way back to, like, I think it's next season. When I mentioned, Frank being on that plane that gets them all back to the island, there's that one part that sticks in my head, in when Jack is on that plane and the pilot comes out and it's Lapidus. And the moment he sees Jack and then just glances at all the seats on the plane and sees Hurley.
He knows exactly what's happening.
And he says to Jack, he's like, "We're not going to wherever, are we?" Like, he knows then and there, we're going back.
Yeah, I forgot he was basically hijacked.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I love, and you just sparked a memory that I know, again, it's jumping forward, but I love the fact that Hurley buys all the seats he can, because he doesn't want anybody else to have to suffer what they went through. So
yeah, exactly. So I mean, and what's very interesting too, Steve, you and I talked a little bit about this before we started recording. This was something I really liked about Lapidus, more the actor Jeff Fahey than Lapidus, is that the producers wrote the role of Frank Lapidus with Jeff Fahey in mind, and he was basically ready to retire at that point. He was in Afghanistan building homes. And they called him and said, "Well, we wrote this role for you." And that brought him out of retirement. And he's been steady acting since Lost as well. So it brought him out of retirement, and he's still steadily working. So I thought that was really cool, that a little note about the actor that does that. But you're right. I mean, there obviously has to be, knowing what we find out this episode, that he was the one that was supposed to pilot that plane. Mm-hmm. You're right. There has to be, he has had to have been struck with some kind of survivor's guilt this whole time, especially to him, as there was the rest of the world, with the exception of the people who were in the know, that this plane had mysteriously disappeared.
Well, and just the fact that he had studied the manifest so closely that he was absolutely sure. When Juliet told him her name, And he's like, there was no, you weren't on the plane, and he's like, Miles, she wasn't on the plane. And so suddenly we get the reveal of what they're really there for.
Yeah. He's kind of a conspiracy theorist who was actually right.
Mm-hmm.
There was something more to this crash or the disappearance of this plane. And he probably, believe it or not, probably knows more about that plane and its passengers than anybody else on this team.
Yeah.
And that's why he is as important as he is. And we're going to find out as we progress forward, he is more than just a pilot. He's very important to this entire thing.
Well, and he's not just to talk a little bit more about the character, the fact that I don't know that much about flying, but isn't flying a helicopter and flying an airplane, they're like
different.
Oh, they're like, yeah, it's not
night
like
and day different.
It's not like driving a car and driving a bus. They're totally different instruments. They're totally different.
Mm-hmm.
There's a collective and a stick instead of a wheel. And yeah, so that in itself shows us that he's got something going on.
He's got skill.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really the only way we can put it is he's got skill. So we've talked about Miles. We've talked about, Lapidus. Let's dive into Charlotte's backstory a little bit. When we're first introduced to her, she is in Tunisia and finding bones of what turns out to be a polar bear in Tunisia.
The mystery of the second polar bear is solved or kind of solved for us.
And what's so funny too is like as a first time viewer, you start to think like, okay, how did a polar bear end up in Tunisia, and how does it have a Dharma logo collar on it? It's the Hydra,
Mm-hmm.
which is where we were on the second island back last season. We're going to find out this season how exactly that polar bear probably ended up in Tunisia, because there are two characters on the island who are going to end up in Tunisia.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, that I was wondering about. I kept thinking, how do they keep ending up in the I was thinking, how the polar bear into the desert? Because the island, when it moves, it doesn't land onto land. I wasn't even thinking about how Ben ended up in the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I don't know how they got a polar bear down to that wheel,
I know.
or if it fell down in a hole that was next to the wheel. I don't know, but yeah, it definitely does show us that was the question we had in the first season. The films show two polar bears and we only have one.
Yeah.
So
I don't necessarily think it's a fact of like, okay, let's train this polar bear to turn this wheel.
It's a donkey wheel, not a spare wheel.
I think they had other means to tap into this. Whatever this power is, that I know obviously we're getting ahead of ourselves, but whatever this power this wheel holds that transports you from the island to the mainland into the desert in Tunisia, they had other ways to tap into this power, and I think the polar bear was nothing more than like an experimental animal, a test subject. The same way they sent monkeys into space, this was a way they sent polar bears to the desert.
And I was actually, it just dawned on me, I don't know if this would even be possible, when they have the incident and everything goes to hell on the island back in, maybe that had something to do with it.
That's a good point. That could have been because that actually is when they turned that wheel the first time. That is when the jumping happen. That's when the jumping starts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's not until they turn the wheel the second time that it stops.
Right.
So you're right. I mean, between all the time jumps that they were making, it's very possible that this polar bear could have just been collateral damage.
Yeah.
Thrown out.
Very, very possible.
and caught in these time jumps.
I love going back to Charlotte. One of the things that I noticed this, like I said, again, on this third watch, was I realized that she is sticking to the cover story. Like as much as she can, she's sticking, at least in this episode. I don't know if she changes her tune in the next, I don't remember, but she's definitely sticking. Well, we're here to rescue you. And we need to wait here for the boat. And Ben's like, well, you don't understand. We don't want to, this group doesn't want to leave the island. And you suddenly see her face change and she realizes, crap, I'm not with the people that I want to be with,
Well, yeah.
And then
I wanted the Jets and I got the Sharks.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, towards the end of the episode, you see a little click in Charlotte to where you get the real Charlotte. She becomes sarcastic. She becomes snarky once she realizes they know.
Yeah. Well, and after she gets shot, she's just kind of
Right.
like, you know.
She's like, I'm done being little nice girl. You know?
Exactly. An inch higher, 2 inches higher, and she would not have been there. But
Well, I mean, isn't it revealed? I think it's revealed a little bit later on too that I think Charlotte was on that island.
Oh yeah, she knew Faraday.
I think so. Yeah, I
That's
think
right. Yeah.
Adult Faraday, she knew.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that bothers me with Charlotte, because we do have her little bit of backstory on the island as a child. But from childhood to adulthood, we don't really learn anything because I don't think she has any real flashbacks episodes, because I know that they've written her backstory and everything, and then they decided to do the shorter season. So hers was the first thing that got pitched.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think, and I think knowing we don't, as a first time viewer, you don't yet know that Charlotte has spent time on this island already as a child.
Right.
Spoilers.
But exactly. But knowing that going forward, it explains a lot as to why she knew to look for that Dharma collar. She knew to look for that collar, and she knew the logo the moment she saw it.
Yeah.
Because she's already familiar with it. It's from her past. Which,
but it seems to me like she was much more involved, I think, than Daniel or Miles were with it, and because she was confident that the plane didn't go down, or because the woman says, how many languages do you have to read this to believe it's true? She's like, well, it's not true, basically.
Right.
She knows the plane isn't there. She knows it's at the island.
Well, I mean, it makes me wonder, is that just maybe it's something that was lost in the cutting of her flashback and such, is maybe, it was something that was written that we never got because of the shortened season, that she does in fact know that all of these people were not supposed to be there when she met them when she was a child. Maybe there was something that was revealed that she knew they didn't belong there, and that's how she knows that this plane didn't go down.
Oh, okay. Now I'm tracking, because I don't remember a lot of these last seasons, and so now I'm remembering what you're talking about. So that makes sense as to why she would know that there were survivors and that they were. Yeah. Okay.
Because I think Des, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's she meets adult Faraday when she's a child.
Right.
Right.
And it's about the time of the incident. They're like all fleeing the island basically, and he stops her. Well, I think he talks to her one time before that, but he's like telling her never to come back to the island again, no matter what, because he realizes who she is.
Yeah,
that's right. And she does, in fact, I think she does die on the island.
I think so. I think, she gets killed. I think
she's one of the casualties of the time jumps.
Right. Oh, she gets the worst of it.
Yeah.
Than anybody, because she grew up on the island.
Because she had already been to the island before. That's right.
Yeah, she starts getting affected by the. Now I'm remembering. Right.
That's right. She's affected more by it because she had been there before. So yeah, you're right. And I think that's really all there is with Charlotte. I mean, she gets caught up with the wrong crowd on the island. And she discovers the Dharma logo in Tunisia. I mean, there's really not a lot.
Not in this episode. No.
Not in this episode. Exactly. I mean, in Faraday, we don't learn too much about him. We know that he feels some kind of effect, some kind of emotion to finding out that the plane had been discovered. He doesn't understand it, but he's going to learn it a little while. I don't even remember exactly what it is.
Do we know who that woman was with him at the beginning of the episode, who's asking him why he's crying? Because it's not his mother. I'm wondering.
I don't remember. Know. Yeah,
I was wondering I was wondering if he had a nurse.
That's right. It's not his mother. I just remembered who his mother was.
Yeah, no, it's not his mother. That's
her mother is, rather.
Yeah. Interesting.
God, the connections on this show, man. It's one of the reasons why I love diving into it, is because, like I just remembered, we've already met his mother.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't know it yet.
Yep. Exactly.
It's Juliet.
Okay.
That'd be weird. And
spoilers.
Sawyer is
his dad.
No, it's not Juliet.
Now the beard makes sense.
Yeah, we have met his mother in quick passing already at this point, but she becomes,
couple times, I think, right?
Yep,
twice,
and she becomes a more prevalent character, I think, going into next season.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
any other notes from you guys? Because we've covered a lot.
I have one that's pretty quick that I thought was interesting the first time going through this. Is everyone, even Ben, is still referring to Alex as his daughter, and Rousseau is right there. We see her that she's still with that group, and they're still calling Alex Ben's daughter, even though I'm assuming they know at this point that she's not really his daughter. Okay, he raised her, so there's a familial connection there, but there's not a biological one, and so it just kind of bothered me that we don't get any indication from Rousseau of her correcting people or Alex going to Rousseau. You know, maybe it's just because she doesn't know Rousseau. She's literally just found out that this angry jungle woman is her mother. So,
well, I mean, yeah, because we do see her actually distraught when John is about to kill Ben.
Yeah.
You know, so she knows how evil her father is, or she knows how evil Ben is, but she still considers him her dad. I mean, she grew up with him. He raised her. You know, so it's such an interesting dynamic. I mean, and I always find it funny, like every time I don't know if it happens again, but anytime Rousseau punched him for, you know, saying that was his daughter.
Love that. I love that.
It was always fun.
I had two other real quick ones
that
are just character moments that I really thought was interesting. When did Saeed become a helicopter mechanic? And I love that. Yeah.
Saeed is the professor. He can do anything.
Okay, you're right.
Give him some coconuts.
Exactly.
But he's like feeling the stick, and he's like looking at the cockpit. And he goes, "Yeah, it'll fly." You know. And then I love the fact that we see Juliet is still being the doctor. She's still she got a first aid kit from somewhere, and she's trying to treat Lapidus's wounds. And so I just thought that was really touching to see that she's still going to fulfill that role. And then I mentioned this to Ben before we started, but is it irony or is it ironic that the one person who was supposed to keep the team alive is the one that got killed first?
First one.
You know?
Yeah, it's pretty ironic, don't you think?
Yeah, I had that in my notes. Don't you think?
Oh God.
What about you, Des? Any final notes?
Okay, this is next to nothing. But did anybody notice the name of the ship that was doing the search at the beginning of the episode?
No.
The Christiane.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
I did.
When they're doing the newscast, they mentioned the name. I'm thinking, well, that's pretty close to Christian.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
And when they mentioned that Minkowski can't come to the phone right now, well, the reason he can't come to the phone right now is he's a raving lunatic and he's in a cell because at the time it's already messing with somebody.
Yeah. I forgot about that, but I now that you mentioned that, that's what I was trying to think why he couldn't come to the phone, and I couldn't remember. So
that's right, because when we actually do discover who the man on the boat really is, it actually kind of is a flashback.
Yeah. By the way, Harold Perrineau still name in the credits, and we're not seeing him.
Well, and I think the unfortunate part of that, too, was that actually is what led a lot of people to believe that Michael was indeed the man on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would have done the producers a lot of good had they actually not listed him in the credits. But I think that's more of like a contractual
I'm
thing.
sure. And
right.
And back then they weren't doing that as much with credits and stuff. You didn't see credits change.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays you have like IMDb won't even list people as in part of an episode until the episode is aired.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And they won't keep people's names out of credits until. So I'm pretty sure that was probably more contractual that they had to have his name in the credits because he was signed to the show at that point. So, because we don't see him again. For a while. Episode 8, meet Kevin Johnson.
Yeah.
Is the next time we see Michael, and that is the flashback to the man on the boat. It's the last time we see Walt, and it is, as we talk to him about, it is the last time we see MC Gainey.
Oh wow.
Because he is the one that recruits Michael to be the man on the boat.
Okay.
Have you ever watched it was on one of the DVD sets, but it was like the first 3 seasons in 8 minutes.
I remember
No.
they did that. Yeah, I don't have the DVDs anymore.
My favorite line though is when they're talking about Jack on with the others. It's like Jack's playing football with the others. Mr. Friendly throws like a girl. Just every time it hits that, I just start cracking up.
Yeah, so I think the only other note I had.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. That's fine.
I had one more, and I just saw it in my notes. Poor Vincent. How was Locke able to convince Hurley to let him use Vincent as the decoy because Hurley had a hold of that leash, and he had been entrusted with Vincent, and I would have loved to have seen, maybe it's a deleted scene of how Locke convinced him that no, we need to go ahead and tie this to Vincent's collar and let him go.
I just find it funny that out of Team Locke and Team Jack, Vincent is the first one to change sides.
That's great.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
Well, it's also funny because this one actually had a fake Vincent at the beginning of the episode where because so many times they have the bushes rustling and your people are afraid and then it's Vincent. Well, this time it was Jack and Kate, but then we got Vincent later.
Yeah, Vincent later. You're right.
That's nice.
Yeah, the only other note I had about it too is actually going back to the beginning of the episode to the underwater vessels that actually discovered the plane. It seems like this is a team that was told that got some information on where to look for it and made the discovery on their own. So I don't think whoever this team is, I don't think they are Charles Whitmore. I think they were tipped on by Charles Whitmore because Whitmore, we do find out, is the one that put the plane down there.
Okay. Possibly. Yeah. I thought I got the impression they were there looking for sunken vessels.
They were, but they were given a hint that it might be there.
Yeah. They're not the plane, but they were given a hint that something.
They were given a hint that there's something in this location.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, Whitmore and his team puts the plane down there. They tip this team off that there's something there so that the plane can be quote unquote discovered.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
And then that's when it hits the news. So whoever this team is, I think they're inconsequential. I think they were just tipped off to where something was and so that they could discover the plane.
Yeah. Just a means to an end.
Yep. Pretty much. They were the Carl of the story. But next episode we're going to be talking about is season 4, episode 3, The Economist, which is a Saeed flashback. So, and actually, no, I don't think they're flashbacks at this point. I think it's flash forward to Saeed off the island.
Right.
This is when we're going to discover that Saeed is the next of the Oceanic Six.
Right. Yeah, I think you're correct. And I don't remember this is when we see him as the assassin, or is that when we see him kill all the guys on the golf course? Or is that later?
That's later, but you kind of know that's kind of the job he's doing at this point.
Right. Okay.
But it's not like the golf course.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm looking at the listings because I had a theory in my head because I couldn't remember if all the flash forwards we get are people that are part of the Oceanic Six this entire season, but they're not. Season 3 is Saeed. Season 4 is Kate, who was. Season 5 is Desmond, who does actually get off the island, but is not one of the Oceanic Six. But then season 6 is Juliet. So
episodes.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Episode 6.
I knew what you meant.
Is Juliet. So that might be a flashback or.
It kind of has to be.
Yeah, because you can't give her a flash forward because she's not off the island. So if hopefully Kristen is back by that point, but if not, I might be reaching out to you gentlemen again.
No problem.
To join me again.
My pleasure.
But since you two were the ones that left me feedback this week, we don't have to do that. We don't have to talk about the feedback. It would be interesting to play it, but I don't have it. I
think I pretty much said everything. So.
I think I pretty much said everything that was in my feedback. So
yeah, but as always, we encourage you to leave us feedback, whether it's for this episode or future episodes. And there are multiple ways you can do that. First, we're on Facebook at facebook.com/Lost Revisited. on Twitter at Lost Revisit Pod, Instagram at Lost Revisited Pod. And you can send us an email at lostrevisitedpod@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail, as Steve and Des often do, and email it to us at the email. So since there's no feedback to talk about, let's spend a few minutes, as Chris and I usually do, on any recommendations you guys might have on things listeners can check out, things you guys have been watching yourself during the quarantine and enjoying yourself. Anything out there you guys want to recommend?
Go ahead, Steve.
I would definitely recommend Cobra Kai. Whether you're a Karate Kid fan or not, Cobra Kai it's got some very fun moments. Both the first 2 seasons are available on Netflix now, and obviously all the podcasts that we have recommendations for. But
man, so many now.
It is. But I would the 2 things I would say is Cobra Kai if you want something that's got some fun. It's got some dark, heavy moments in it as well. But if you're looking for something that's a little bit lighter, Cobra Kai, and then if you're looking for something that's a little bit darker, check out Lovecraft Country.
Oh, you don't want to pitch your own podcast? Okay, I get it.
I mean, I can.
Absolutely.
I'd love for everyone to listen to Mark and I on Panels to Pixels, which is right here on the Next Level Podcast Network. And of course, check out House Podcastica on the Podcastica Network. They just finished up their coverage of Cobra Kai.
Yeah, and you guys, I think, on Panels to Pickles or Pickles, Panels to Pickles would be an amazing
That'd
podcast.
be an interesting podcast. We are currently making our way through season 2 of the Umbrella Academy. We just recorded episode 8. I think Mark may have dropped that one this week. I think, and we're going to record for episode 9 in a day or so.
I know you mentioned all the different podcasts, to pitch. I mean, both on Next Level and Podcastica. But I do want to make mention about, our buddy Mark, who, man, splitting his attention all different ways. He does Panels to Pickle. God damn it.
I'll help you out. Because he's gonna get on to me if I don't do this. Panels to Pixels, which is on the Next Level Podcast Network, and Mark has started his own podcast network called Pirate Core Entertainment, and that's Pirate Core. Core is spelled CORPS, like the Marine Corps. So it's Pirate Core Entertainment. So check out the podcast on there. I think they have one podcast right now called Run for Your Lives with friends of ours, Daphne and Pate, covering disaster movies, and we've got some other ones that are in the works.
His Adrenaline Cinema podcast is going to be launching relatively soon.
Yes.
Which is, where Daphne and Pate are doing, disaster movies and such. He's going to be covering action movies, and I'm excited because he's already got me listed for like 3 episodes. The first of which is Die Hard, which I'm very excited for.
I got to message him and find out when we're doing that, because I got to get on that one. If not, I'll definitely send a voicemail for it.
How about you, Des? Any recommendations for people?
Well, I have not been watching that much TV. I would say Umbrella Academy. If you haven't watched it, you've got to watch it. For some fluff, just total fluff, I mentioned this to you before. It's called Sing On. It's cheesy as hell. It's Titus Burgess that was on Kimmy Schmidt. He's the host. It's basically Weakest Link combined with Rock Band. You have to sing perfectly how the original artist does, but they can vote you out either because they think you're a threat or because you're not bringing enough money into the group. So it's really cheesy, but it's fun. It's fun to watch. One other show, I don't know if anybody's a Star Trek fan, but Lower Decks.
Lower Decks is great.
On CBS. I'm loving this show. Animated Star Trek, little dirty here and there, not too bad, but it's just hilarious.
Yeah,
and
I have been watching Lower Decks. It's a lot of fun.
And then I'm really looking forward because, next week we've got Walking Dead coming back. Discovery's coming back soon. A whole bunch of stuff is getting ready to come back over the next month or two. So there goes the TV.
Yeah, it's a good time because there are things that are starting to come back, even though a lot of stuff didn't get to go back into production, or isn't going back into production until now. I know Supernatural just wrapped.
They wrapped their 15th season, so those episodes start, I believe, October 4th. They start running those episodes.
Yeah, I know they're going to be running soon. I know, Des, you mentioned Sing On, which you compared to The Weakest Link, I'm excited because starting on Tuesday, The Weakest Link comes back, hosted by Jane Lynch, who, in my opinion, you could not find a better host for that show.
She is perfect.
Yes, she is perfect for a new host of that show. So I'm definitely going to be checking out Weakest Link on Tuesday. Tuesday or Thursday, I can't remember. I know it's next week. I'm pretty sure it's Tuesday. But also, I'm excited because Great British Bake Off is going to be coming back with new episodes on Netflix. So,
how can you watch people bake?
Hey, it's a different change of watching Gordon Ramsay yell at people all the time.
That's true.
I still watch and love. But I just remember. So, if the funny story about Great British Bake Off was. I actually discovered it via Carlos Valdez, who plays Cisco on The Flash.
Okay.
I was moderating a panel with Carlos Valdez and a number of other people, and I happened to ask them what they do in their free time. And Carlos Valdez had mentioned going back to his trailer and watching Netflix. And I asked him, like, well, what are you watching on Netflix? He's like, oh, Great British Bake Off. And nobody on the panel had heard of it before. It hadn't hit the popularity it has as of now. And he's like, oh, like, it's fantastic. He's like, you watch all these people bake. He's like, and then there's Great British Bake Off, like the masterclass and all this other stuff. And everybody on that panel, including me, thought he was joking. We thought he made this show up because he was raving about it. And then I remember hanging out with my friend Rob, and he, who used to co-host the DC podcast with me, and he started talking about it. And I'm like, wait, that's real? I'm like, I thought that was a fake show. He's like, no, it's very real.
That's hilarious.
And I started watching the first season. I'm like, nobody's yelling at anybody. Like, I don't know what I think of this. And I just fell in love with it. It's just... Yeah.
These are the normal British people, not like the crazy Gordon Ramsay.
Yes. Well, Ramsay
you mentioned Cisco. Did you hear about Supergirl getting canceled?
Yeah, I did.
I'm still behind, but
it's no surprise, to be completely honest with you. I honestly think that Batwoman and Legends might be soon to follow. Because ratings haven't been. Flash is the only one that's been performing since the whole Crisis on Infinite Earths, and between Hartley Sawyer getting fired from the Flash and Ruby Rose leaving Batwoman, it's the CW Arrowverse has become like a jamble.
Right.
It's been a little bit of a mess, almost to the point where Rob and I, who after Crisis on Infinite Earths wrapped and Arrow ended and we wrapped up the DC podcast, Rob and I were kind of feeling a little bit of remorse, like, we miss it. And then all this shit started happening. We're like, yeah, we ended the podcast at the right time. I'm
like
so
you said with Hartley, I mean, Flash, that was going to be a big part of the next season was, his storyline.
They were building him up to be him and Sue, they were building him up. And I know we're off the topic of Lost, but we've finished that discussion. I mean, the one positive thing I can say is that, like, because he does play elongated man, you can very easily recast somebody in that role and explain it.
Right.
Because he stretches, he's elastic, he can change his look. You could just say he changed his look. I mean, and that's what he did. Or something happened to him and now he's stuck with this face. Like, it's, it's ridiculous. Ruby Rose is a little harder to explain. Because they're putting a new character under that Batwoman cowl, and they never even really finished the story that Ruby Rose was telling. So how do you suddenly explain her random disappearance?
Yeah.
So I honestly, Rob and I were talking about this before when it came to all those CW shows. I loved them, but after Crisis on Infinite Earths, when they made all those shows on one Earth and the multiverse disappeared, they should have combined all the shows down to one and called it World's Finest. This way you have to sit through 1 hour of television with these heroes instead of 6. And you free up the shooting schedules of all these actors so that they can now pursue other projects, as well as freeing up time slots in CW so CW can produce more shows. They should have done it. They didn't do it. I'm still going to check out Superman and Lois because I love Superman.
I was going to mention that, yeah. Maybe they can bring them in like a hero here or there.
I think they will. I think they'd be stupid to not bring Cryer over as Lex.
Yeah.
Because he's a phenomenal Lex Luthor. But, it is what it is. But yeah, so I mean, Weakest Link, I'm definitely recommending. I back your Cobra Kai. I back Umbrella Academy.
Did you watch I Can Hear Your See Your Voice?
What is that even about?
It's fun. I watched it last night or this morning, I guess, and it's basically. Let me see if I can explain without spoiling anything. It's basically they have a contestant and then they have 6 performers, and at least
5 of them lip syncing.
Well, they're all lip syncing, but they're all lip syncing one song, and then the contestant has to figure out who is actually a good singer and who is a bad singer, and they have to choose. And if they choose correctly, they win $10,000 each round. If they choose incorrectly, like they say, I think this person is the good singer, or the bad. They have to choose the bad singer, because what they want to do, they want to have the last one standing be a good singer. So the way I understand it, there has to be at least one good and one bad. There can't be all bad or all good. You know what I'm saying? Like there's got to be. So there's at least they have to narrow it down until they get to the last singer, and they have to decide if that singer is good or bad. And then if they choose correctly, they win $100,000.
Interesting. Yeah, I know. I know the Masked Singer returned this week. I haven't watched it yet because I had it spoiled for me. So I do plan to watch it. I just don't feel the immediate need now that I know who was already eliminated from the show. I do have to say though, since we're talking about like I Can See Your Voice and the Masked Singer, I know he's not listening to this podcast because why would he? But just in case, a huge congratulations to Brandon Leake for winning America's Got Talent this week.
Oh yeah.
I predicted him winning the moment he auditioned. It's the second time I've done that. I predicted Shin Lim winning the moment he appeared, and I predicted Brandon Leake winning the moment he did his spoken word poetry in his audition, and he got that golden buzzer from Howie. I'm like, he's winning. Like, there's no doubt in my mind he's winning this entire thing. And he did. So I got a little worried because the top 2 was him and a country duo who should not have even been in the top 10. Let alone the top 5 or the top 2. But the moment he was up against them in the top 2, I'm like, oh, he's got it. Like, there's no way in hell this country.
Right. Very cool.
So yeah. Any final notes from either of you before we wrap this? We bring this ship in.
Just I'm excited for the rest of the season because, like we've talked about, these last 3 seasons I've watched the least. Repetitively. Mm-hmm. So I remember the least of I remembered a lot of the first 3 seasons, but these last 3 I don't remember a lot. So I'm excited to watch them.
I'm just the opposite because I'm just a sucker for time travel. Mm-hmm. So when they start doing all the flashes and stuff, that's my bread and butter. I love it.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this last episode in that I don't recollect seasons 4, 5, and 6 nearly as much as I do 1, 2, and 3. And it's not because I've seen them the least amount of times. Like I haven't watched seasons 1, 2, and 3 more than I've watched 4, 5, and 6. If I've watched them all equally because anytime I start from episode 1, I finish. I go all the way through. I think it's more, there's so much more content and there's so much more. If you look at it like a spider web, there's so many more strings that make up seasons 4, 5, and 6 than do 1, 2, and 3. So I think it's easier to remember things that happen 1, 2, and 3 because there's so much that happens in 4, 5, and 6 that it's hard to remember it all. So that's kind of where I'm also looking forward to going further into 4, 5, and 6 because even I don't remember all this stuff. I think I actually just learned recently too in my research that where I thought we don't see the temple until season 6. No, we see it this season. It comes up this season. And I'm like, when I read that, I'm like, really? I don't remember the temple in season 4, but apparently I was wrong. So cool. So gentlemen, thank you for joining me this week and filling in for Kristen.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Yes.
I know she is appreciative of it as well. And to all the listeners out there again, we're sending her love, and hopefully she's going to be back with us very, very soon. But I think with that being said, next episode, The Economist, Saeed flash forward, season 4, episode 3. But until next time, we'll see you guys further on down that rabbit hole. Take care.
Talk to you later.
Goodbye. See you later.
We have to go back, Kate. We have to go back!